probably the when I did the reverse 180 in the episode Baby. That was fun because I'd never gotten to do that with that car before, and I got to practice a couple times over lunch, and then did it about I did it 3 or 4 times for all the cameras. But it was pretty fun. In fact, I actually, what they did is they mounted the camera right on the hood, and the window shield had been a window screen, right? Yeah. It's probably, what is it? Windscreen. That's the proper term for it. Anyway, it had been busted out because of a big fight in there, and so the windows were busted out. But what they did is they strapped down this camera onto the hood of the car, and I took my cell phone and taped it onto the camera and then hit record. So I've got this really cool video of it on my phone. Then because the camera was going to see 180 degrees, everybody had to run off the road. They were on the walkies, like, okay, lock it up. We're going to roll sound, and everybody duck behind the trees and get behind this, or duck down and get out of the way. And so it was funny. Like our camera assistant came over and they marked it with the slate, and then it was just like ants just scattering everywhere. And then it was just empty. Like the road was empty. There was nobody, which was really strange because I'm just so used to having so many crew people around. And our guest star was sitting next to me, and right as they had locked it all up and got everything ready, and I was, the car was running and the cameras were rolling and everything was good to go, and she looks at me and she goes, "You've done this before, right?" And I just looked at her, I was like, "Now's not a good time." And and then that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that. There was another moment that was equally exhilarating, I would say, and that was the very first day of filming season 13, and it was so it was the first episode, but it was the moment where the brothers are riding in the Impala and they're just cruising down the road, and they pull up to the Pirate Jacks or something, the last time that Jack was seen. So that very first day of filming, we shot that driving scene, and I knew that they'd used a lot of, there's this thing, there's an automobile that they've converted into a fully functioning camera mobile, essentially, where there's a crane on the top of it. And they used this a lot for Deadpool when they shot that in Vancouver. So I knew it existed, but we'd never worked with it on our show. And essentially, I was driving the Impala on this kind of winding mountainous road that had twists and turns and elevation changes. And I had this SUV with a giant crane mounted to the top of it with a driver, a director, an operator, a focus puller, and a crane operator, all in this car. And these guys are so good, they're stunt drivers, that as I was cruising along, they're coming within inches of my car. And the camera actually came, at one point, the lens was in the window. Mind you, we're going 30 miles an hour, which may not seem fast, but when you've got a camera coming from the outside of the car into the window, and you're trying to constantly keep the exact speed so that they can adjust their speed, and there's elevation changes like this, that car's heavy, you get it on a downgrade, it starts to speed up, so I'm like lightly tapping the brakes to keep that speedometer on, and it was like, I was sweating bullets. And may I help you? All right, I'll wrap it up. And so anyway, I have to say lines and act and do that. I have to put a performance in while I'm doing all this, and the car's in front of me and behind me and beside me, and the camera's moving all over, and it's like sitting right on the front of the hood, and I'm driving 30 miles an hour. Meanwhile, Jared's like, what's my line? And I'm like, really? All you have to do is say your lines. I'm doing everything else. He's like, it's early, man. Oh, I'm going to throw him out of the car. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to take Sandy and Brandy with me because she doesn't need a zoo of uniforms, right?